Hey, welcome everyone. Back for another episode of Groove. A Swing Speaks right here on this network, Studio W, the Buzz, your global radio network. We circle this thing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with the finest in broadcasting found anywhere around the world. And I am happy I have my brother and also my groove brother here, Mr. Clayton Brown. He's on my right. Joining us shortly will be some swings. We have LaToya, Yvette, and also Tiffany Hilliard that's going to join us as well. And so we just want to start off with some good news, and then we're going to get into the main topic tonight, which happens to be the monster in the room, and that is domestic violence. Now, you guys know the gist of this program is to outline the great things that grooves and swings and Black Americans are doing all over the world, but also we have to point out some things that need some attention, some things that need to be corrected, some things that need to be addressed and little talked about. So we're going to talk about everything, okay? And hopefully we'll be able to help someone out there that's going through some struggles and some tribulations as far as violence is concerned, especially domestically. So let me do this. Let me turn on our cameras here. All right. So you see that we are live here on Groove Talk Swing. Groove Swing Speaks, rather. And I'm so proud of this broadcast because it is a spinoff of Groove Talk Radio that we started about 6 or 7 years ago back in Southern California. And so this time we wanted to incorporate our swing sisters and also brothers and sisters around the nation. So I'm going to kick. Hey, Clayton,
Yes.
don't let me hog the conversation, bro.
Well, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Well, my brother, he tends to do that from time to time, but he's the talk of the
Turn
family.
up a little
So
bit. Four.
I just want to introduce myself again. I've been on the air once before with my brother, William Brown. He's my oldest brother, who I dearly love and respect. And he happened to be my mentor in a lot of ways. But I'll tell you this, when you have a great brother or great family member like this that you can rely on, keep them close to you. And later on during the segment, I want to talk about those things, checking on one another, the mental health, mental wellness, and also just keeping in connection with the good people around you. All right?
All right. Well, I tell you what, thank you for that, man. I want to, like I said, address some things here. And so I pull up some articles that's very, very interesting. And let's talk about, uh, you guys know Mae Jemison, Mae, Jemison. Did you know that she was the first Black woman admitted to the astronaut training program in 1987? And let's just sink in for a little bit. 1987. It wasn't that long ago, folks. It wasn't that long ago. And you find out throughout history, so many things have been delayed or denied. Jameson boarded the space shuttle Endeavour. I think you guys remember that. She was born, let's see, when was she born? In 1956 as an American engineer, physician, and former NASA astronaut. In 1992, she became the first Black woman uh, to join the space program. Let's see. And there are so many, many, many others. Like I said, she was admitted in 1986, 1987 rather, and in 1982, 92. Um, there's more about her to talk about. One of my favorites, Shirley Chisholm, born in 1924, and she died in 2005. Now, if you guys remember, she became a household name after becoming the first Black woman to be elected to the United States Congress. Let that sink in again, folks. Uh, just amazing, amazing accomplishment. And she had one of these forces, or her presence, or her energy, Clayton. It was like a Martin Luther King type. When she spoke, you listen.
People paid attention.
You paid attention. That's how powerful Shirley Chisholm is. I mean, just a great, great, great great woman. Let's see, I'm going to read a little bit more about her because she was one of my favorites. Born in Brooklyn, New York, and like I said, in 1924, November the 30th, as a matter of fact, uh, and she died in Amman Beach, Florida. Okay, she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably already know that that is the highest award given to a civilian. Okay, and she received that. I mean, just a powerhouse. I just absolutely love her this woman. What was she famous for? Congressman Shirley Anita Saint Hill Chisholm was the first I said this African American woman elected to Congress. Chisholm was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. There is not enough said about the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm impressed by the Congressional Black Caucus. Now they go back, in their chambers, and they will discuss certain things. But see, you have to understand, in order to get anything passed in Congress, you need a two-thirds majority, and also it depends on who is holding the majority.
That is correct.
The Speaker of the House is the one who decides what comes on the floor, which I think is absolutely crazy because you can have the most progressive, positive, beneficial information, and we can see this happening right now that can hit that floor. I mean, that can be presented, but it's up to that one person to decide whether he's going to bring it or not.
And how soon?
Repeat that.
And how soon?
And how soon, if it happens at all.
At all.
At all. And I think that is a travesty. That things need to be changed there. Um, and it's all about politics. Ladies and gentlemen, it's who's pulling the purse strings. And then who suffers for it? You have to understand. There's all been it's just a whole thing here. It's divide and conquer. Okay. And if you can cause chaos down here, the people who will really benefit, who are the 5%ers up there, guess what? They've done their job. They've got you fighting here. So the thing about it is, please pay attention to it. And getting back to my dear sister, she was a fighter. She was a firebrand. And she, oh my
She
God,
also ran for president.
she did. She did. Let's talk about three of her accomplishments. She advocated for the end of the military draft and reduced defense spending. In 1970, she published her first book, Unbossed and Unbought.
That's right. They did not play with Shirley. They did not.
She was outstanding, man. And like you said, and entered several Democratic presidential primaries, receiving 151 delegate votes for the presidential nomination rather. Uh, Two important events of Shirley Chisholm's life. 1969 was one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus. We talked about that. The only woman among founding members. 1970 was co-founder of the National Organization for Women. Now, that's the acronym is NOW. That's now January the 23rd, 1972. Chisholm was the first African American president to run for Congress. That's man or woman. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna toss it over to Clayton right now because I'm telling you what, I just love Shirley Chisholm, and we need more Shirley Chisholms in this world, brother. Bring that mic a lot closer, man.
Well, my opinion is we have a lot of Shirley Chisholms in this world. And that's the reason why they are trying their best to silence our black women because they know the power of your voices. Those sisters out there, mothers, aunts, grandmothers, they always been the backbone of our
Mm,
communities. They knew the power of the black woman's voice. and
That's
that
right.
voice traveled far. I guarantee you, each and every one on this network can relate to a story where their mother or their grandmother told them something that resonates to this day. They always had everybody's best interest at hand. They fought the fight when the brothers and the
Hmm.
dads and the grandfathers would. The mothers and the black women, even Hispanic women, women of all colors, they were always the backbones. So what would men do? They would try their best to suppress that voice, even if they felt threatened. Their manhood was threatened. But I myself always cherished it because what better way to learn than to work to learn from the one who cares from you for you the most?
Come on, brother.
You know, they always gonna tell you what's real. That's why we need to lift them up, keep them on the pedestal that they deserve to be on. I truly believe that because without our black women praying for us
Hmm.
on their knees, praying for us during the day and crying at night, wondering about their child, I have to give you everything that's in me. I do revere. I will put you up on every mountain that I have because the fact is, if it wasn't for you, the black woman, the Hispanic woman, the woman of color tribe, the Native American woman, keeping their child in their sights, a whole lot of us would be destroyed today.
You know that's right, and encouraging too. And one other thing, while you were speaking, I thought about you take a bear cub or related bear, mess with her cub.
So you're in trouble.
How about the lion?
You're in trouble. Keep going.
Pick one. You in trouble.
You are in trouble.
You don't do that. And the thing that really gets to me, because we're gonna get to something here later in this broadcast, because we're gonna address domestic violence. Now, I know it happens on both sides, but this is not a both sides argument because it's not equal. Yes, a man get beat up by their women, okay, but it's not funny either. But that's few and far between on what really happens out here. Majority of, and I understand why some men they don't report when they get beat up by a woman. They don't report that.
No, there's nothing to brag about. It's not. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
don't
sorry.
apologize. No,
You're
you
right.
know,
You're right. It's not funny.
see,
It's not.
you,
It is not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're joking with this. Well, I'm trying to get serious right now.
Yeah.
But to get up here, hit up, not this happened to me because it ain't gonna happen. Is you get hit by the side of your head with a rolling pin, or you as a man go to work with knots on your head, and you have to tell the brothers, "Well, no, I fell in the driveway." I
I'm sorry.
stumbled, and it was too early to get up, right? And I stumbled coming down the steps.
Yeah.
That don't work.
It does not.
No, no, they know, especially if it happens more than once. So there
Or
was a
they use
story.
that story before themselves because of what.
There's a story. Oh, I really don't mean to make light of this. I really don't. But look, you have to laugh sometimes, keep from crying. One of my panelists on the Boomerang Radio Show, Dr. Dimmery, I know you've heard him before, and he was a Navy chaplain, and he was talking about how um, one of his soldiers uh, or Navy people, officers, came on and used to come always bruised up, scratched up, knots on his head, and things of that nature. And the thing about it was that he really didn't find out what was going on. Hey, Tiffany.
Hello, hello, hello,
Oh,
hello.
wonderful
Hold on, sis.
talking. Oh, seeing you right now. Thank you so much. Tiffany is one of our beautiful swing sisters. from the Raleigh grad chapter there in North Carolina. And so, what we're talking about tonight is domestic violence, right? And before that, we were talking about the legendary Shirley Chisholm because we also wanted to highlight black women that have changed the world. So,
Mhm.
uh, boy, oh boy, I know you that you would have enjoyed that. Also, I've got some ideas off air because Tiffany has a skill and a vocation that is fascinating. She's in the world of arts and entertainment, but I'm gonna let her go on and tell us a little bit more about that after we finish this. So, right now, we were talking about domestic violence, and it happens on both ends, men and women. But you can't say, well, it's equal because it is absolutely not. We
Mhm.
understand that men, it's underreported with men because no dude
Yeah.
wants to uh, be around any of his peers and or work or anything and show themselves as being weak. Okay, so it's not reported. However, even with the underreporting, know there is a disparaging difference. More women are being violated. I'm going to put my uh, uh, reputation online as saying more women are being violated than men out here in this world. I believe that.
Mhm.
I absolutely believe that. And so, but we were talking about men this time, and so we have a gentleman by the name of Dr. Demery who comes from my Boomerang Radio show. But he was a Navy chaplain, and he was talking about how one of his soldiers would come in all bruised up, beat up, knotted. His head was knotted, knotted up, and it's not funny. I'm sorry. Uh, and so, uh, and so he found out one day what was happening. One day, this Navy officer, wife's officer, I mean, he came on and she was demanding to see him. Okay. And you could tell that this was a violent woman. They would not let her on the ship because it was reported that she was beating him with a rolling pin. Okay.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't report it, but they would not let him on. But on a more serious note, uh, we were talking about how domestic violence is plaguing our society. Before we get into that, I want you to tell the audience who is Tiffany Hilliard and what organization you belong to and why are you here tonight?
Okay, hello everyone. Greetings, my brothers and all my sisters. So I am a member of Raleigh grad. I went over in fall 2011. Under my sweet mother, she was the late and great Cheryl Cornegay. And what I do is I have my BA. I got my BA degree in 2016. I got it in digital filmmaking, and I am a writer, more so like a screenwriter. I've also I didn't share last time, but last year I met up with a gentleman in Florida, in West Palm Beach actually, and I started working on his autobiography. And so that is one of the most recent works that I have done, and I am currently also working on I guess you could say like a Christmas film script, something that I wrote a couple of years ago that I'm going to be revising. And so yeah, that's what I am right now.
I'm so happy that you're here because uh, matter of fact, we were speaking off air earlier, and I was telling you about another platform that I have, which is called Cultural Excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Cultural excellence in music, art, entertainment. Also, we include business and education. But you fit right into that, and I had invited you before to come on that network because it fits right into what we're doing. That's on Wednesday nights, and it's at 8:15 p.m. On the East Coast and 5:15 on the West. Also, what we like to do here with Groove Swing Speaks is to connect the dots around the globe. And we want to know, I don't care if you're in Washington States or you in Florida or you in an upper southeast or in the lower southwest. We want any groove, any swing, or outside of the country to come on, share your experience because I will guarantee you, someone that someone out there that's listening to this broadcast will be inspired. I already know we've getting we this is our fourth, only our fourth segment, only our fourth segment. And I think I don't know what I mentioned to you or was this Rock earlier, that I checked on just one of my social media pages from last week, and we have about six that we uh, operate along with the apps rather, and I'll give that information out later. Apple and Android. We're also on Apple CarPlay, Google Play, Alexa, the website, ladies and gentlemen, which happens to be Studio W Buzz, Studio W Buzz, Studio W Buzz. And I'm sharing that with you because if you miss part of this program and you find it interesting, you want to hear it again or share it with a friend, to go to the website, Studio W Buzz, and that can be heard or listened to globally. It will be up on the website in 24 hours. Um, Tiffany, I've got to ask you, not sure whether you know anyone or have experienced it or anything about domestic violence as far as I don't know what your experience is. Perhaps you can say something to some of these young ladies that think that they can't escape this monster, escape this tragic thing that they're going through. And I call it tragic because it can end up in a tragedy.
Hmm.
Um, it is a very serious thing. We talk about a lot of good things that we are doing in our community, but we also need to address some things that need to be fixed. So, I
Hmm.
mean, I don't think that you can really call yourself on your way to being successful if you don't address the other issues that's plaguing us. I would love to have your take.
Yeah, I can speak more so from a different angle in regards to this, because I've had a male relative that was a victim of domestic abuse where I
Ooh.
had to call the police, and and my family um had to kind of get involved, so to speak, and it was I I didn't see it all, and but I saw her at the time when it happened. I saw her being the aggressor, and it comes to my knowledge that it was not the first time that the police were called,
Hmm.
and but I remember that particular time I called, and it was just and of course, like, no charges, my male relative, they didn't press any charges, and that's something that I wanted to kind of point out, like what you just mentioned, that most guys, they will not press charges. I know I have a coworker, a male coworker, and he told me one of his exes had put hands on him, and he's light skinned, and he called the police, and when the police had came to where they were, he said he didn't want to press charges. He said, I just want to get my stuff and I just want to leave. Like, they could tell that she was the aggressor because, like I said, they could see the marks on him, and they was like, just say the word, and we'll, arrest her. He was like, no, no, I just want to get my stuff. I just want to go. So that's something that I really kind of want to talk about more so, because, not devaluing women that are or that have been domestically abused, but men, like a lot of guys that we probably know probably have gotten their hands put on, what I'm saying, by a female, and they just never said anything. And so
Right.
I do want to say, like, if you guys are listening, and if someone has, even though it's in the past, just say something like, "Hey, man, this happened to me a long time ago." You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not gonna look at you as being weak, because at the end of the day, you're a human being like everybody else. And but it needs to be put out there so that the next person doesn't feel as though they can't share. You know what I mean?
I
It's
do.
like a lot of resources out there for people that have been in that situation and maybe they've gotten their own personal healing, you know what I'm saying? And that's all well and good. But it's unfortunate on both ends. You know what I mean? Is really unfortunate that and I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been one that put my hands on somebody too. I will admit it openly. You know, I'm not proud of it. Um, you know, I thought I did it because I thought, you know, even though they were 6'5" and, you know, saying whatever that, you know, they're not gonna do anything. However, it was still wrong of me. You know what I mean? Because people they get heated in their emotions and stuff and I don't want anybody to think, oh wow, well she didn't know, like that was my past. You know what I'm saying? We all do stupid stuff. We all say stupid stuff when we get heated in a situation. And I just want to say it's never right to put your hands on anybody. Period. I don't care how mad you be or whatever. Like, if you got to hit your own car, hit your own car. Don't put your hands on somebody because you can catch a charge, you know? So, just, you know, it's easier said than done, and I get it. But, you know, you have to think about the aftermath because not only are you hurting that person, but you're probably also hurting your own family because now you got to bring them through it. Now they got to come to the courthouse and see you and all this. It's just unnecessary. It's unnecessary drama. It's unnecessary monies that possibly got to be paid out. It's unnecessary stuff that may go on a record. It's just unnecessary. So yeah, that's just my little spiel. And you know,
No,
even
that's
though I
okay.
apologize to the guy, I apologize to all men. You know what I'm saying? Even though I didn't put my hands on you, I apologize, you know, and I really do mean that.
Well, I tell you what, that is. Hey, Rock, she said for sure. Now, absolutely, there's no question about it. And the thing about there's also, oh boy, Robert Hicks, listen to the show. I want to say if people are in crisis from domestic violence, contact 1-800-799 SAFE. 1-800, and we have more information to share with you also throughout the broadcast. But one contact right now, jot it down: 1-800-799 SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233 for the National Domestic Hotline, or www.thehotline.org. www.thehotline.org. Well said, Tiffany. You're 100% correct, man or woman. No one should put their hands on anyone. I That hasn't happened to me, but there was a threat that it would happen to me one time, and so I told this date that I was on that it was over.
Mhm.
Right then,
Yeah,
right then on the spot.
you should have.
Oh yeah, we were in a restaurant, and anyone who goes out with me. I don't care. Some of my fellas or any females that you go out with. I have fun when I'm out. As a matter of fact, I'm not going out unless I intend to have fun, right? So I play around with everybody. I play around with waitresses, waiters, and everybody. And this one insecure person just felt that I was flirting with the waitress, which I was not. I'm several miles out of town, and there's no way I was going to revisit this place. I just happened, and so I'm just friendly like that. But some people take your friendliness to being flirtatious.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah, but see, that goes along with their own. Bring your mic closer, brother. Their own insecurities. So
Right.
we have to realize also, and sometimes, I mean, you're already in a relationship. So if you're in that type of situation, find a way out. If they're
Mhm.
abusive to you, find a way out.
Mhm.
Some choose to stay in those relationships, and we have to talk about that a little bit. Why? Is there a dependence on this person? If I leave, where am I going to go? If I
Mhm.
leave, what am I? Where's my money coming from? Where are the things that I need? You know, well, if you stay, you might die. So,
Mhm.
or keep living a life of trauma. And
Mhm.
so we have to, and then it could be a situation. And the reason why I'm speaking so about this is because I've done many, 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 many shows on this very topic. So when LaToya said, let's talk about domestic violence, I said, let's talk about it. And one day, and this is not going to be the last time you hear this. We might have a part two next week because this is something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
It's kind of like how you going to build a structure or building or piece of machinery where you know there's a flaw in that machinery. How is it going to work properly? And the same thing goes on with a family or any other thing, anything, or a workplace. If you have a cancer in that particular workplace, it's not going to function properly. It cannot.
But you know, the key is you cannot fix it. I cannot fix it. The
Ooh.
person must have the willingness to want to be fixed. And I
Mhm.
commend the sister for sharing her story. And you said that you apologized to each and every one of us, and I commend you for that because you didn't have to do that. I appreciate what you said, but you showed a willingness to forgive and to take ownership. And you said, I'm willing to change from that point going forward. So that's the first start. Letting everybody know that I'm willing to change. I'm not going to be the same person I was when I committed that. So I commend you for that, sister. Each and every one of us have to do some soul searching. Where are we? Where are we willing to go? What is our plan? What is my purpose? And I believe if you follow what your purpose is, you're gonna always be okay. Because you was God created and you was wonderfully made. That means that your purpose was already subject to go forward, to be the best one you can possibly be. We tend to go off the rails sometimes. And when we go off the rails, we have to pay the price for going off that rail. And I hope and pray to myself every day I don't be the person I was back then.
Huh.
So I'm willing to change each and every day.
I tell you, I think well put because many of us, we tend to live in the past. And I say we because sometimes I have to say, wait a minute, hold it. That happened last year, 5 years ago,
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Then where's your future if you continue to
Ooh,
stay in the
that is
past?
a great question there. Where is you?
Where are you looking? You're turning around looking behind you?
That is absolutely incredible. And this is what we have to pay attention to. So, yeah, uh, let's say, hey, that's who I was.
That's who I was.
That's a whole different person. And that's called maturity
Yeah.
because we learn things even in childhood. And our vulnerable years were the ages 1 to 5, 1 to 3, right in there. That's when that gray matter is formulating
Yeah.
and taking on things, like a sponge. And we tend to grow up
Yeah.
based on our environment, you know. And so DNA doesn't only start in the womb. DNA is also developed afterwards, and it has a lot to do with your environment, your surroundings, your education, who's influencing you. You see, and so we have to really understand that life is a sacred and a precious thing, and it's all about learning. And so, if I made a mistake in the past, get up, apologize, do whatever you can to make amends and make that thing right,
And don't
Mhm.
repeat.
and don't repeat it.
Mhm.
So, what I hear, the stories that I hear, as far as domestic violence is concerned, is that well, he said that he would never do it again. You know, baby, I'm sorry. it'll never happen again. But listen to the buzzwords there. Well, number one, after that happens, I'm out anyway. The first time, okay, I'm out. But now, if you choose to stay, listen to the buzzword. But I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't done
Mm,
this.
No.
See,
Okay.
is that an apology,
No.
Tiffany? Is that an apology? I wouldn't have done it if you didn't.
that's a
You
cop
made
out.
me do it, so to speak. I lose my temper. What?
Yeah,
Run.
those are
I, I,
excuses.
the only word that comes to mind right now is run.
Mhm.
Please run. And so again, let me give out that hotline number. That's 800-799-SAFE, 800-799-SAFE, 800-799-7233. And so let's talk about I had some other things pulled up here regarding the cause and effects, because I'm not going to let this go. And I am so serious about this that I'm almost sure, Tiffany, that we're going to have a part two. We need to have a part two on this because it's such an important thing. Like I said, if you don't fix what's broken, there's no way in the world that you can achieve to the fullest what you're really, really, really looking for. Okay.
But
Okay.
if you will, you said if you don't fix what's broken, again, you have to have the mindset and the willingness to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because a
Wow.
lot of people, their mindset is, is not there, is somewhere else. So I mean, I don't know what you're about to go into, but if I may just put this in real quick, I
Anything?
think domestic abuse starts mentally and verbally,
It
and
does.
then it escalates. You know what I mean? I
I know
know
exactly.
someone right now, a male friend of mine. He's married, um, and to my knowledge, his wife never put hands on him, but he tells me all the time, like, they're mentally and verbally abusive towards him. And he stays. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's even talked to me about being suicidal at one point
Wow.
because of the trauma, the depression, you know what I'm saying, that he deals with. And it starts that way. So people, guys, women, whoever, if it starts off mentally and verbally, it's a possibility that it could escalate. I mean, not saying that every case is like that, because it's not. Because some people are just mental or verbal abusers, and that's it. But even then, you don't need to stay there either. You know what I'm saying? You
Yes.
don't need to stay in that situation. And I think a lot of people, they stay there because they may have, it's familiar spirits. They're familiar with that trauma. It's just a different face. So maybe their parents was mentally or verbally abusive towards them. Oh, they used to it. So it ain't enough for them to stay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You said something that is profound because we underestimate or no underrate the verbal abuse.
Hmm.
Look, I've said this over and over again. The dumbest thing that we ever learned growing up is sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt. That's a lie.
Yes,
I'm gonna
yeah.
tell you, people have gotten killed over words.
Hmm.
Clayton, you've been in the military, and what starts most wars is somebody says something.
It's words.
Words, folks. People have gotten killed over words.
Hmm.
You have no idea when you attack somebody verbally. Call somebody the wrong word.
Yeah.
Say the wrong word in the wrong place, and I'll guarantee you it's not going to work out good for you. Okay? Now, keep in mind, prior to that, nothing physical happened, did it? Nothing physical happened, did it, before that? But you said the wrong thing. You can tear someone down or you can build them up with words. And that is a fact because,
That is correct. That tongue is powerful.
isn't it?
It's
Hmm.
very powerful. Very
And
important.
I believe somewhere in the Bible it said
Oh yeah.
uh, uh, that tongue is like a sword, right?
It speaks
It,
of
it
that tongue. Yeah.
A
it's like a
double
sword.
edged, a two-way sword.
You
Yeah.
can hurt somebody really, really badly with your words, folks. And we need to really start understanding that. And over the last few years or so, and I'm not going to bring politics or anything like this, but have you noticed how words have been so destructive
Yeah.
in the
Dangerous.
fabric of this nation? Clayton, you and I, we talk off and off air
Yes,
on many different things, right?
that's correct.
And we talk about the state of the union. We talk about the state of society. We talk about the things. Oh, Mill said, my son, the tongue is that liquid sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, it is a powerful thing, and until we start realizing that, okay, and you would talk to people who are the offenders, and they'll say, "Well, why are you upset?" Okay, I said what was on my mind. I always speak my mind. Well, sometimes you're
You don't
not.
you don't have to do that.
You don't have to
You
do
don't
that.
have to do that.
Speak your mind, and then if you speak your mind, and then you're spewing falsities or non-truths or something that's destructive, come on,
Mm-hmm.
man. Uh, what amazes me, we can send a man to the moon. You're talking about technology that is mind blowing, and you can figure out how to do all of these things. I'm talking about if you take any invention. I mean, we got you can talk to your car and it'll start driving. Some of these cars are here. You can do practically anything, but you can't figure out how to get along, how to unite.
Mm-hmm.
You can call all these things into play, Clayton.
The thing is, you was talking apples and oranges because you're talking technology as opposed to man.
Yeah.
You talk
I
about nature and
uh-huh.
nurture. You know, one
Yeah.
something is learned and the other thing is naturally in you.
Yeah.
Some people is just designed that way until they find out that doesn't work well for me. So I better change my attitude.
Yeah. Some.
So it's all about, to me, what kind of value do you put on yourself?
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna be the kind of
Ooh.
guy that I want to be, saying I'm proud of being me,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna act like me. I'm gonna act with the dignity of treating people the way they're supposed to be treated. First and
Mm-hmm.
foremost,
Mm-hmm.
I have to build my character
Right. I understand that.
to be the value that I want it to be. You can't put a dollar figure on that.
That's exactly right. And that because you choose to be that person,
That's right.
this is what we're trying to get to because there are not a lot of Claytons out here in the world. There's not a lot of Tiffany's out here in the world. There's not a lot of other great people out in this world that know what you're saying is right. And then you have to ask yourself the question, why? Are they so weak in their own minds that they feel they need to dominate by putting someone else down? Okay. And we know that to be because you take a narcissist, for instance, nothing
Mm-hmm.
matters but them. Okay. Uh, they don't believe in wrong, them doing wrong. They don't believe in that. And so there is a deep psychosis there that is a issue. And we're going to get some mental health people on. Tiffany, I promise you, we're going to get, and then you might want, I don't know, you may even have some plays that you've written about this or some something that, and that's right. You and I need to get together on some things anyway. We talked about collaborating on some things, and we'll talk about that off air. But what I want to get to, I just pulled up something not too long ago. Domestic violence causes worsen. Please underline that psychological and physical health. So
Mm-hmm.
I want let's talk about this a little bit. Domestic violence on a non-violent but verbal. How could it cause and including that, how could that cause physical health. I mean, problems, right? Decrease quality of life, decrease productivity, and in some cases, mortality. Domestic and family violence can be difficult to identify. Many cases are not reported to health professionals or legal authorities. We talked about that again because a lot of time when the cops show up, one party doesn't want to press charges. And I've seen that happen on both sides where the man or the woman refuse to press charges. I mean, what are the causes and effects of violence? Researchers have examined multiple factors within a person may contribute to violence, including genetic predisposition. Let's go back to that. We're going to talk about that too. Genetic predisposition,
Mhm.
neurochemical abnormalities. Well, when you talk about hey, somebody's not right in the brain, we know some people out here, hey, that cat or that woman is not right. I don't care how good they look on the outside, but some on the inside, something is not right.
Mhm.
Our bodies are made up of chemicals, folks, made up of chemicals. And if your chemical, you can get a bad drug or a good drug. If your mind is made up of bad drugs, you're going to have bad results. And I mean about that. Think about how, when those endorphins kick in, how do you feel when you're happy, when you're laughing? Conversely, how does it feel when those drugs uh, make you sad? I'm talking about not the drugs that, I'm not talking about anything that you're ingesting. I'm talking about your natural makeup. Our body is made up of drugs and depends on our mood which one kicks in. That's why I love
Mhm.
music. I love laughter. I love hanging around great people, and I just great conversation.
I
You,
call it my spirit.
yeah, okay. Oh, hey,
And you're
go
right.
on,
You're right on
please.
point.
Please continue.
Because when I get into that spirit of self worth and being encouraged and being enlightened and knowing that this is my path, this is what I'm supposed to be doing today, nothing can stop me
That's right.
because I want to go out there and serve and do what I'm supposed to do for the common good for everybody. And when they're okay, I know I'm going to be okay
Right.
because I don't have to worry about them coming at me.
I love it.
Because anybody that has that spirit of unselfishness, that they care about the person next to them, their neighbor,
Mm-hmm.
uh, especially if they're in their same household,
Mm-hmm.
you do what's right. You learn. You learn what they desire, and you support that. You let them know that I'm going to take care of that for you if I can help you.
That's right.
That way you're happy, and then everybody in the house is getting along, can laugh and joke, like you said, laughter,
Mm-hmm.
being joyous. Who do not want that?
Absolutely.
That would be crazy to walk around your own home and you're miserable or anywhere else. I choose not. That's
Absolutely.
why when we have these conversations, my brother, we always talking about don't let all that toxic stuff get into your head because it's designed to destroy you and mess your day up.
Yes,
I
exactly.
am not going to allow that to happen to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I did that, and most of us that within the sound of my voice probably had that same experience.
Mm-hmm.
Tearing themselves apart before they even had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Live your life.
I couldn't agree more. Like I said, Tiffany earlier, this gentleman next to me, we grew up together. Not only, and I was so proud when I pledged groove at Virginia Union, and a few years later, he pledged groove at Virginia State. And I was so proud that he became a groove. And I'm even prouder of the man that he is. And he and I, Not only we're blood brothers, we're groove brothers. We also talk often, and we talk about these various things here. And I know that he supports me. He knows I support him, and he does everything to uplift me. He listens to my radio broadcast. If I've done well, he tells me. If I didn't do well, he'll tell me that as well. And you know what? I don't have a problem with it.
And neither
I
do I, my
really
brother.
don't have a problem
Neither
with it.
do
I need to know that.
I asked for it.
I need to know that. I don't want any false flattery. If I did, if I done good, let me know I done good.
That's right.
If I done bad, let me know I done bad. So, but I'm serious about this. And if we can't, as people, realize and accept the fact that we've screwed up or we made a mistake. I was thinking about this earlier today, Tiffany, and I'm going to ask you a question,
Mhm.
including family members. Do you know anyone that obviously they messed up, but they refused to take responsibility and admit that they are wrong?
Of course.
You said, of course. And it goes deeper than that because think about this, and you can talk and elaborate any way you want. If you refuse to take responsibility, what does that say about the life that you're living? What does that really say? Because, shucks, I mess up a lot. I try not to, and I try not to do the same thing over and over again. But I'm going to tell you something to you, Tiffany, Clayton, and to my global audience. I am not afraid to say I messed up and I'm sorry. Folks, do you know what that would do for your mental health? Do you know what that would do for your psyche? Because it will free you up. It will free you up. And it's like a lot of people say, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. Okay. I'm going to take it a step further. If you admit that you made mistakes, it's definitely for you. Okay. Because you are free. You don't have to cover up. You don't have to explain your way out. You don't have to do any of those things. So a lot of our mental deficiencies, we bring them on, and I'm saying we collectively, as a global audience, we bring that on ourselves.
Yeah.
We put too much pressure on ourselves. And if you can admit, I was wrong, and mean it sincerely. And I'm not talking about that guy that comes in that house or that woman could come back in that house, say, "Yeah, baby, I'm sorry," and then next week you got a rolling pin up against your head. Well, I don't think that you really bought your own apology. I don't think you meant your own apology. Tiffany, I would love to have your take on this.
Yeah, I want to hit a few things, kind of piggyback off of what Clayton said first, um, is that, because we kind of have mentioned, you have mentioned about what this does to us, um, physically, and it all ties in together, I believe, is that, especially, verbal abuse, you know, um, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a Christian. I admit that.
Me too.
So when I say this, a lot of you may have heard it before, maybe not, but it's a scripture that says life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Right.
And I believe, even if it wasn't a scripture, I believe that's just, no matter
That
what
is
your
true.
belief is, that's just worldwide.
Yes.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So whatever you say, that's what it's going to be. So, and I think, what comes out of a person, it says that, I'm kind of paraphrasing, is like, it's not what goes in a person that makes them who they are, it's what comes out of them. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So the more negative that a person speaks, that's it's showing you who they are. Like
That's right.
their roots. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that nothing good never comes out, but if most of what you say comes out of your mouth is negative, that
That's
means
true.
you have a negative mentality. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so
I
it's
do.
also opposite of positive. Like if you know a person that always, so joyful, so bubbly, so, kind hearted, they're always speaking, hey, how you doing? Whatever, whatever. That means that more than likely they are a positive person. Now, that is not to say that people don't put on facades.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something
Ooh,
else too,
that's
because
deep.
a lot of people can put on facades. You can have a person that is nice. They speak, hey, how you doing, whatever, whatever, and then behind closed doors, that's somebody else.
Yeah.
So
I
we
couldn't
know
agree with you
that,
more.
yeah, we know that there are people like that exist, and I would go to say that's when you then have to have, and I hate if it sounds spiritual, whatever, but it is what it is.
Just say
Both of you then have to have a discernment or a discerning spirit.
that's true.
You have to be able to pick up, okay, some seems a little off, like, and that's not saying that's true for everybody, but you just got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to be aware of the people that you surround yourself with.
That's
Um,
true. That's so true.
and, I again, it's like, and I'm sorry, you had, I kind of went off on a tangent, so I kind of forgot
No,
what
no,
you
no.
wanted
You're
me.
fine.
You don't need to apologize.
You're
Speak your mind.
fine. I'm enjoying your dialogue with us, and I hope that the audience is picking up on everything that we're saying, folks, because it is so important. Sister, please continue.
Yeah. So basically, because we was talking about, oh, I know where I wanted to get to. Because we was talking about the mortality rate and how that affects us physically. So, and you asked me if I know people personally, and yes, I do. And what I can say is that um, people that are negative, for the most part, they tend to get sick with something. I don't know if y'all ever
Mm.
seen that, but they tend to get sick with something. If it ain't inflammation in the body, fluid
Mm.
in the body, they end up having and I'm not talking about stuff that's just like genetics, because we do know that some stuff are genetics. But I'm talking about, they end up having heart attacks, or they end up
Ooh,
you
now
know what I'm
that's
saying,
interesting.
with certain health issues, because they decide to keep a negative mindset. They decide to hold on to grudges. That's the one thing too. That's another thing, y'all. Y'all need
Yeah.
to stop holding on to grudges, because it don't do anything but make y'all sick, and it ends up
That's true.
decreasing your lifespan.
Yes. You're absolutely right, sister, because that spiritual mind, that is so uh, important to your health.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at the physical, they look at what they put in their body as far as their food and their
Right,
intake,
right.
but that spiritual mind could make you so sick. It can make you start doing things you don't want to do, those things
Mm-hmm.
that you want to do, because that's the reason why, and I agree with you 100%, and I'm not afraid. Uh, I am a Christian man. I believe in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I make no apologies for that. But
Right.
first and foremost, what I do in the morning, I ask for the Holy Spirit to come and be with me throughout that day, because I know within my fleshly mind, I'm subject to make all kinds of mistakes, and I have. I tested that theory. I, hey man, don't make me start telling these stories because no. But each and every day, I ask for growth. I ask for a change. I ask for that new man because I know that new man works for me. It works because that old man, all that was doing is trying to destroy me.
Wow.
I did not
Wow.
like him.
That's deep.
Mhm.
I
That
did
is
not. I
deep.
did not like that old dude.
It's something you said earlier, and I wish we could rewind the tape right now. And it is that you recognize,
I
you,
have to.
yeah, you.
I have to
Eh,
recognize what I. If I'm going to move forward, geez, I have to.
what? Wow, that's it right there. If you want to move forward, if you really want to improve, then you would do exactly what you're doing.
And I told you the other day, and I said it several times. I am tired of hearing the noise. All that noise is meant to do was keep my feet stuck
Yeah,
in cement. And I wasn't moving forward
man.
when I did that. Because all you do is rehash the same old narrative, the same old movie over and over and over again,
Right. You know,
replaying it. Why?
and I tell you what, and someone really close to me, and I'm not going to tell you how close, was talking about something that happened 30, 40
That's what I'm
years
talking about.
ago. I said, this
Mhm.
is, look, I,
Mhm.
and I had to make a decision. And my decision was I had to end this conversation with this brother. I said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going through revisionist history. I'm not going to do this because guess what? I didn't do anything wrong then, but I don't know why you're bringing this up. But I'm not going to relive this now because I cannot change what happened 30, 40 years
You
ago.
absolutely cannot.
I can't change
All you
that.
could do is be
So,
a better person than you was then.
what are we going to do going forward? What are we going to do? And this person wanted to argue with me. I said, because I said, why bring it up? I want to bring it up. I need to. Well, guess what? I don't want to, and I don't need to.
Mhm.
And with all due respect, I love you, but I'm not going to do this. And I will
It was meant to keep you in a place.
and I will talk to you later.
So
That's the place that I was at. I'm telling you right now.
you have to move forward because every day that we have on the face of this earth is precious.
And
It's
I'm not going to
valuable.
waste it.
You if you do, it's on you.
I'm not going to waste it going back 30, 40 years ago saying, we should have done this or no, I felt this way because of whatever. I'm not going to get into it because
Let me get on.
go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I understand, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna cut my brother off because he gets on his soapbox and is
Isn't it
nonstop
something? Well,
sometimes.
I tell you what I'm going
He's
to do.
always been the talk of the family. I love him to death, but
I'm going to cut off my mic right now. I mean, I'm going to cut off my camera right now. LaToya,
Hello, 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 hello.
hello, hola, my sister. Well,
Hola.
let me
Hola, sis.
let me get
Hola.
into a bit of this. How are you, Latoya? I didn't have a pleasure to meeting you yet.
she's buffering right now.
Okay.
I am?
Yeah, you buffering, but that's okay. No,
Why?
I think you're okay. Where's that
Okay.
beautiful face of yours?
Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me turn the
Okay,
light
stop
on.
stop
Can y'all
playing.
see me?
Okay, yeah, it's a little dark
Oh,
there, but it's okay.
it
Continue.
is. I'm sorry.
Okay, and then I'm gonna Clayton, please take over, my friend.
Oh,
Okay,
I didn't want to interrupt,
and
but
no, you're doing just fine.
well, to
And
all of my great, cut it, to all of my great and beautiful sisters of Swing Five Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated, I say hola and greetings to you all. Uh,
Greetings, my brother.
I appreciate you, sisters, because you mean the world to us. Let me do a little bit of letting you know what's going on my block. I happen to be the president of Virginia State University Virtual Alumni Chapter. Virginia State University is where I hail from. Back in fall '77, yeah, I'm one of them old heads of the Trojan chapter. And we have been doing a few things trying to collaborate with the school, also with some of the student body, with some of the international brothers, illustrious President Ahmad McDougall and Crispin Booker, who is the first international vice president. I said it to say this: they are supporting us in our growth and recruitment down at Virginia State University. And also, we have been working with the Sisters of Swing Five Swing on some of the things that is upcoming, particularly it's the Mental Health and Wellness Day, which will be coming up on April the 8th. We will be meeting with one of the school body people at 11 o'clock so we can help set up. We will be submitting and handing out a lot of personal hygiene items and snacks for some of the students. I am collaborating this with your sister, Sister Geraldine Atkins, who is part of the Richmond Graduate Chapter, I believe, and their president. And we have been working together quite often. One of the other things that we had worked on was the doorway, which is we feed the people at MCV Hospital that come in and they stay overnight for their loved ones that have very critically ill procedures. And so we have been feeding them like big pots of chili and sandwiches, along with some of the other brothers, Sonny and Everett from out of Richmond grad, David Nicholas. We have been working with the Swings collectively, hand in hand. So I will be down there on April the 8th alongside of you, sisters, that will be there. The more, the merrier. We would love to, excuse me, to flood the campus with black and white, white and black. So if you're in the area on April the 8th, please come down to Virginia State University and we will show you the hospitality that we know how to show. Also, some of the other things that we have been doing was the Hope Center down in Petersburg, where we feed the homeless. Sister D. Best, she has been with us on a couple of occasions and also donated money towards personal hygiene items. We feed them, we distribute food items to the needy. We have been doing well over 80 to 90 families either on that Tuesday and or Thursday. We will be doing it again this Thursday. For the brothers that's out there on the network and you will be in the local area, please meet us down on Commerce Street, Hope Center. I can give you the address next Tuesday and help us out. We also have the Adopt the Street program, which we have a mile long stretch from South Street, from the bottom of the campus, all the way out to Lee Street. We do that quarterly. So if there's any brothers in the area, I will be putting that information out there so you can help us. We meet at the Rock at the bottom of the hill. Veronica's Way. That is a great program where our fellowman Crispin Booker, he is the first international vice president, and that is his wheelhouse where he collects donations and also asking people to come alongside him as he sets up computer labs over in Ghana. They're also trying to set up a trip where brothers and sisters can go over there, but there's a lot of things you have to do. Get shots. I think it's yellow fever or one of those shots you have to have. You definitely must have your passports. So he's been doing a great job with that. He set up quite a few computer labs. I don't want to tell you how many, but the brother is doing great work. The Groove Fund Scholarship, that is part of our organization, but it's kind of like a separate entity where these brothers have started this scholarship fund. And I believe last year they gave away, I believe, about 15 scholarships. I have been a part of that as well, donating and also presenting the scholarship fund check to the recipient. Clean up for our brothers and sisters. The brothers have been coming together and helping our brothers that have been falling ill. I don't want to call the brother's name, but he has cancer.
No.
So we as brothers come together and we went to clean up his yard. Those are some of the things that I feel is necessary. We go out here and work for other people. We should be able to work for ourselves and our brothers and sisters. If our brother and sister fall ill, we should be right there as an armor bearer to help pick them up. If they can't do it, we should be able to. Where they lack, we fill in the void. Some of the things that brothers and sisters have not been doing is calling one another. Hey, give your brother, your sister a wellness call. See how they're doing. You know, it's a shame that sometimes people tell you I'm busy. We have been using that word a little too often. You're wore out. You're never too busy. Give a
Yeah.
brother or sister at least 30 minutes to an hour, at least once a month. If so, once a week. That's not too much to ask for. See how they're doing. You know, on the downside, I've been to too many funerals since I've been back here in Virginia. It's crazy. I'd rather be able to speak to you while you're able. So to tell me that you're too busy to hear from me, hey,
Yeah.
I'm going to bug you anyway. I'm going to call you anyway.
I
You'll
know
get
that's right.
because one day you won't be able to hear it.
Man, that's a
So
Yeah, that's
that's
good.
wonderful.
that's my 62 cents as the brothers say. On Tuesday, 19 March, we're going to First Union Baptist Church to help some of the brothers in the Richmond Graduate Chapter at their church distribute food. On Saturday, the 23rd March, we're going to Mount Olive Baptist Church every fourth Saturday.
Hmm.
That's your line, brother Ron Hannah's church.
And that's my church.
The
Yeah.
first one is Sonny's church,
Okay.
and my church also, Spring Creek. We are collaborating with HBCUs. We call it the Sankofa Project, where Virginia State is one that has been uh, going side by side with us with their wellness and being woke, being a woke community.
Right.
I'm not going to take up too much of this time, but I had to go down through this list before uh, my brother took up too much of the time. So thank you, brothers and sisters that's out there. I wish you well, Godspeed, be healthy, and I pray that the Lord sends a hedge of protection around you and your family. May you always be safe and sound.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you. I want to also hear from my co-host, LaToya, Yvette. LaToya, hey, darling, how are you?
Hello, hello, hello. Greetings, my brother. Hola, again, my sister. Uh, um, I apologize for being so tardy, but today is was actually swing day, and we actually got together as sisters in the fellowship, and some brothers came out, and we all broke bread together. I do believe that's important in this day, just like you said. One day we won't be able to do that with each other because so much is happening, and we all have a time to go. So we never know when we're going to see someone again. So it's just important to get together as family, as brothers and sisters, and break bread. So
True.
that's what I was doing. I do apologize once again for being tardy.
You're
But
fine.
I know
You're
you
fine.
all have been having a wonderful time.
Yes, we're trying our best.
Yeah, we had our lovely sister Tiffany, Tiffany Hilliard, and we've been sharing some information because this is a topic that I knew that was and know that was near and dear to you because we're covering domestic violence here tonight. And when you and I were talking off air, because we always talk off air before the next program, and I need to do this with all of our panelists to get together and talk because Tiffany and I had a conversation off air, and she didn't know that you and I talk before our programs and decide what we're going to talk about, and we want to do that so the program will flow. more fluidly. Uh, and you mentioned something about domestic violence, and we've been deep into this conversation. And we talked about the physical part of it. And then what I think that we want, what I would like for us to address right now is the mental aspect of that and how you can really destroy somebody with the words. It doesn't necessarily have to be just someone putting their hands on you, which is absolutely awful. It shouldn't happen. If you're in that situation, get out. But then the problem there is so many people that's involved with that. How do I get out? What I'm going to do? How am I going to live? How am I going to eat? You know, um, and
Right.
they would put that above their own physical torture. Then bring children involved in this. I'm going to say this to our world audience. If you're a man or a woman and you're subjecting that to your children, you are despicable. Despicable. You have no idea what harm you are putting on your children. Clayton, you had something to say, bro? Okay. No, I'm serious about
Yeah.
that, man. A child growing up in that environment, do you understand how that can and will traumatize them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody,
And
go ahead, go ahead,
also can
go ahead,
and
Levette.
also can lead them to become abusers themselves,
You're so right about that.
or
As a matter of
either
fact,
victims of abuse, because then they think um it's okay, because this is the household that I grew up in, and this is what
it,
I've seen, and it's okay.
it, it is learned behavior. I remember watching a program, and it was. I apologize for this. Is it Marty Povich? And he had these abuses on there, and he was talking, and he had women on there that actually, and folks, this is real life stuff. I don't know how it was done on TV, but I know real life where women are walking down around with their heads down, afraid to even look up. And you better not look in the direction of another man, even though it is not intentional, and you get abused. Let's look at what are five causes, and then I'm gonna toss this over to LaToya. What are five causes of violence? History, LaToya, you mentioned this earlier. History of violent victimization. Some of these people have victimized themselves.
Yeah.
Attention deficits, hyperactivity, or learning disorders. History of aggressive behavior. Involvement with drugs, alcohol, or tobacco, low Q, poor behavior control, deficits in society or societal, cognitive or information processing abilities, high emotional distress. Latoya, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm just.
No, we want to hear
You said.
because I know you've done some research. You've done some research because you talked to me off air. And I'd like for you to share with the audience what you found.
We can't hear you.
No, we can't hear you, Latoya. Okay. Tell you what, Latoya, I'm going to ask you to log out and log back in. Tiffany, the floor.
Oh,
A
that
lot
is
to unravel, huh?
when she's driving. I'm sitting in the parking lot watching my surroundings. Say it again. Say what you want us to do.
Be safe.
Yeah, yeah, please, please, please,
Yeah,
please.
you just
No,
be
what we
safe.
were talking about are some things. Uh, and we're talking about what are five causes of violence history of violent victimization, attention deficits, hyperactivity, or learning disorders, history of early aggressive behavior. You can put a line right under that. If someone has a history of aggressive behaviors, say you
Mhm.
first dating someone
Mhm.
and their behavior towards others, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a waitress, it could be anyone, but it is like kind of over the top. Can I kind of send you some red flags there of how, and let's say, for instance, they talk negatively, negatively about their mothers or fathers.
Yep.
Okay, think about that. Low IQ. Okay, all right. Poor behavioral control.
Yeah.
You're around someone that can't control themselves no matter what.
Well, you're starting to get into the psychological stuff now
Yeah,
that we don't have that kind of, I know I don't have that kind of background to address.
yeah, I understand that.
I can only speak for what's inside of my head,
Hmm.
but for to ask what causes somebody else to do that, who knows?
Well, that's valid.
That is something that neither one of us can answer for someone else.
Well, that's a valid point. The thing that I'm bringing out is that I am not a doctor. I am not a clinical psychologist. I'm
Right.
not, but however, in our 10 years of, thank God, of having this broadcast, I've had professional after professional after professional after professional to answer these questions.
Okay.
So I think I'm somewhat qualified to go on and to speak on it anyway,
So
even though
what
I
did they
can't get
say?
there.
What did they say it was?
They said, and we'll get to this in a second here. Hey, Howard Harris, how are you? They were saying that, and they go back into a deep psychological thing that it can be a myriad of things. And a lot of these behaviors are learned. Give an example. You have a dad who beat on a son's mom,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and his son was able to witness that.
yeah,
And his son grew up just like his dad. It's like that bully
yeah.
complex. Okay. And you also have people that are in situations where they are afraid that they're going to lose. And so what it's just like that thing is a parable, so to speak, you know, and that you're squeezing that bird in one hand, okay,
Mhm.
not to let it go. And you're asking, guess which hand the bird is in. It is a situation where, like I said, I've had many professionals to say that number one is a point of left less esteem or self-esteem about yourself, and these people really are in a lost space. Okay, and so they take it out on other people. It's like that narcissistic personality.
Yeah.
Someone, yeah, it's a narcissistic type situation. And they have no idea, unless they get some help, how to get out of this. Okay. It's just like jealousy, for instance. You know, you're jealous
Yeah.
of this person and you're accusing this person of doing something when they aren't doing anything. And you might be the very person that's doing the very thing that you're accusing somebody else of doing.
Yeah.
It's a whole a psychosis. It's a myriad of things, and that's why I want to hear from LaToya right now because I think she has something that she wants to say
I was just
to
gonna. I was gonna say we don't. I wanted to make sure that we understand it's not just women being abused; it's men too.
right.
Um, and so and also talking about the mental part of it, it lasts longer. Mental It lasts longer than the physical. Physical heals, you have the scars or whatever, but what have you. But however, the mental stuff keeps playing most of the time. It can play. It keeps playing over and over and over again in your mind. Um, and I also want us to understand that manipulation is a form of abuse. Like to
Hmm.
manipulate a situation to go into your to 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 make it work how you want it to work, or to work in your favor or someone else's favor. That's that's abuse.
I can
Like,
see
and most
that.
of the time we don't think it is. Like, so it could be something little, and we might not think, oh, that's nothing, but it's something. You know?
Hmm. That's exactly right. LaToya, I want you to address this because we talked about that mental aspect of abuse. Tiffany and Clayton and I, we talked about that too. And we talk about, and a lot of people say, oh, they're just words. They're just, no, they're not just words.
No, they are not just words.
Words hurt.
Yeah,
You can encourage or you can discourage someone through your words. For instance, you take Tiffany, for instance, with her projects. And Tiffany, I can't answer for you. But when one of your projects come through and someone says, "Oh my God, that was absolutely incredible," you get a certain feeling. If someone came to you and says, "Why are you doing this? You're no good. You need to just quit what you're doing." That has a whole different effect, and I think that ties into what Latoya is saying. That mental abuse is it lasts.
correct.
Like I said earlier, or I'm gonna repeat it. Okay, and it's kind of goofy. All right. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
I was gonna
That
say the same thing. That's a lie. Whoever made that up was lying
it's a lie. It is
for
an
sure.
absolute lie. And also, we want to get into, and I've had professionals on my networks that have also talked about, and Tiffany, I think, did you bring it up or did Clayton, you bring it up?
What's that?
That it has a devastating, and it can have a devastating health effect on you.
Hmm.
It can cause you to go into the hospital for a myriad of things. If you, there's a saying that pressure can bust a pipe.
It can.
Hmm.
It don't just make diamonds, does it?
It don't just
That's
make
right. It just don't make diamonds. It bust pipes too. You're
it
correct.
bust pipes. Then
Right.
what do you think it does, Tiffany? What does it do to the human body?
It stresses it
Mm, right, exactly. High blood pressure. That's the number one thing that comes to my mind. And when you get high blood pressure,
Come
depending
on.
on the person, they can act out a certain type of way, and it may be verbally abusive, and that abusiveness may end up turning into something else. I was gonna say I once dated a narcissist, and he was somewhat mentally abusive towards me. He was somewhat of a manipulator, and all of this stemmed from his mother. His mother, as he was coming up, his mother was an alcoholic, and I met his mom. And his mom, I don't know if she's still living to this day, but when I met her, she was she won't drinking at that very moment that I met her, but I could tell she still had some of them ways, and it was all learned behavior, and you know what I'm saying, and a lot of things. I'm a not to put his business out there, but it is what it is. A lot of people that do this, these are signs, and I like what I like what one of my homeboys said to me the other day. He said, "Girl," he said, "that ain't no red flag." He said, "That's a whole red tint," and that and that
That's
was
good.
the fact that
Right.
um that he has multiple children by multiple baby mamas. And I said that to say, remember when we said earlier that some people can put on facades, they can
Yeah.
be real nice, you know what I'm saying, say whatever, whatever, that smooth talk. And then when it's just you and that person, they become somebody else.
Right.
So, I've gone through that. And where he was real nice to me at first, said whatever, whatever. We started talking, and then the next thing I know, I was being falsely accused. Oh, who that nigga you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Who is that? Who calling you? Da 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 da. I'm like, what
Mm.
is you talking about? But come to find out, he was the one that
It was
was
good.
cheating. You know what I'm saying? I've been
That was
there.
the total set off for him.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And like like we said, it's all starts, verbal, and then that mental play, like you said, it keeps playing in my mind, like, well, maybe if I just stay
Right.
here, I don't go nowhere. Like, that's torture. I'm torturing myself. I'm having all sorts of thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Well, what if I don't do this, or if I, just to please him, and we end up mentally abusing ourselves because of someone else.
Someone else.
That's
Well
right.
said.
That's right, sis.
LaToya, uh, what Tiffany just said is so profound.
Mhm.
The perpetrator uses manipulation, and now, did you say manipulation, or Tiffany, did you say manipulation?
We both
But
said,
yeah, he uses or she
Yeah,
uses
or she.
manipulation and guilt trip. The thing that we have to understand is, why are we putting up with this?
mm,
Why are we going through? If it doesn't make you feel good, it's just like, if I go to a restaurant, I have a bad meal, I'm not going back to that restaurant. And I know, and I'm trying to not trying to make light of this, because this is not only about an experience with a restaurant. It's something far more serious than that. Our, why do we need anyone that is going to treat us this way? Is it love, love making, the fear of that, uh, if I lose this person, I can never get anybody else in life, which is crap. Okay. There's
Mhm.
always somebody out there that's going to love you. Now, it might take a while for it to happen, but somebody's going to love you. If you're a good person, somebody is going to love you. Just let it happen.
mm,
Okay. It's
Right.
about that. But it's all, I think that the people who are allow themselves to be in this situation is for the fear that they can't do any better. And guess what?
That could be part of it.
Well, guess what? That
No value. We
no,
talked about that earlier. What
that
what kind of
person.
value do you put on yourself?
Oh, I think that's an excellent point.
Yeah.
What
Self-esteem.
what value do you put on yourself? I I,
Mhm.
mhm,
I could have stated that better. The point is, do you know that you have value? If you know that you have value, stop taking it and
mm,
stop living in the fear. And Latoya, there are so many. We talk about this too. Clayton,
Mhm.
Tiffany, and I also that. Talked about that. A lot of people are in fear. Well, where am I going to go if I leave this horrible situation? Okay, they are afraid or in fear that if you leave this, then you have no other choices. And we're going to say, yes, you do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give out uh, 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 the national
Hotline number.
hotline number. That's
Mhm.
1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-7233. There's always a better choice, and it might take a while. You may not have that luxury home that you're in, but if you are in agony every day, are you really enjoying that beautiful home that you're living in? I had a co-host when I first started this, and thank God we're in our 10th season right now as an independent radio station. But I was on another station, and my co-host on another station, we had a program. It was a talk show, and off air, she was telling me about her fabulous lifestyle. 3 husbands later, fabulous lifestyle. Her last husband, they lived in a mansion that had 3 floors. He lived on the first and she lived on the third. I think they'll tell you all right there. It tells you everything. Separate, well, not only separate bedrooms, but separate floors. I mean, who wants to do that? Okay, yep. You can go to any restaurant you want to go to. You can drive any car you want to drive. You can have any vacation you want to have. But how much fun are you having? How much fun are you having? And how many sacrifices do we make thinking that we can't do any better? Okay. I would rather, as long as I got to have a roof over my head, I would rather be happy than live in a situation where it's always miserable and you living with someone that you can't even stand. Uh,
Right.
LaToya,
Most of the time, that's called a trauma bond.
Right.
Wow. I never heard that.
I haven't either. Elaborate, please, my dear.
Trauma bond.
Trauma bonds are two people who have endured trauma, and they come together.
I hear it.
Oh,
It makes
Like
sense.
it's a trauma bond. They find comfort in whatever way, but it's still not healthy.
Right.
that is,
But it works for them.
But
y-
it doesn't
does
work
it?
for them. It may seem like it's working, or they may want it to work, but it's really not working.
Right.
It's not
Because
working.
But
trauma doesn't work for anyone.
they was willing to accept it though.
They're willing to accept it for whatever it's worth
Yes.
to them.
And you
Correct.
know, as a matter of fact, I never heard that. You said trauma don,
Trauma bond.
trauma bond,
Yeah.
Trauma bond.
Yeah. They that's how they connect
trauma bond.
through
I
trauma.
have never heard. Hey, write that
It's
down.
it's really a it's
Is that
really a
better?
it's really a technical work. It's really in the mental health field. Like, and the reason why I know is because
More.
I've been in situations where I have been in a domestic, verbally, physically, emotionally, all of that. And I started seeing a therapist, and she told me, she was like, "You all are together because of a trauma bond," and I was like, "What?" Like, I
Wow.
mean, she knew my story, but she just realized, like, this is what's bringing you all together is trauma.
You know, I never. Wow.
Mhm.
and
I.
and most of the time when you're in dysfunction, when you're dysfunctional, when you grow
Uh,
up in a dysfunctional household, when you don't deal with things, because in our community, I've always heard what goes on in this house stays in this house. You know how we had all of that. um but when you don't deal with situations, issues, however we want to call it, then we have these traumas. Sometimes they're underlining. We don't really. Sometimes we know what it is. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't even realize we're moving or acting or behaving a certain way, all because of trauma. So then we get with other people who have been traumatized, and then we create this bond, and we think,
you,
oh, this is wonderful, or this is suiting whatever the need that we think is suiting, but it's really not.
you
It's
know, I
not.
wrote a poem a long time ago that like minds think together. And we are one. And so this was years and years and years ago. I need to really pull up the entire poem that I wrote, but I had never heard the term trauma bond. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And they, as a matter of fact, I had some clinical psychologists come on several weeks ago, and they are part of my panel on Sundays, and they talk about hurt people,
Yeah.
hurt people,
Mhm.
and
And
I,
the cycle continues. And the
and,
cycle continues.
yeah, and Tiffany, uh, can you relate to that on whatever level you can? Hurt people. Why is that? I, this is so incredibly
Yeah.
interesting, but not only interesting, but disturbing to me because I'm hurting. I'm going to hurt you too. I, I, I'm trying to wrap my head around it because to me, all of us on this panel have been hurt in some shape, form, or fashion before
Mhm.
in our lives. And it
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily have to be about domestic violence, but we have been hurt before. And I'm trying to wrap my head around this. If I have been hurt, why would I want to hurt you? I mean, that's the question I have, and it's the question I'm putting on the table. Tiffany?
Uh, I believe a lot of us do that um, out of emotions, out of our emotions at the time, especially when you care for someone or, let's say, for instance, um, let's just say I was, talking to a guy and he hurt me somehow, whether he, cheated on me or whatever. So my way of getting back to him, and I'm just making up a scenario, my way of getting back at him is he doesn't like to be ignored. So therefore I give him the silent treatment and I don't talk to him for 3 days. And that like just irks him. Well, you hurt me. So one of the buttons I know to push on you or to trigger you to get you back is to ignore you because I know you can't stand it because you hurt me. So it's a get back type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever you do, I'm going to do it too. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to just go as hard or whatnot. And again, I believe a lot of us do it because one, we do care for one another, but we just have uh, a twisted way of showing it. It's not the healthiest. And I wanted to Clayton, I wanted to ask you, what is that Bible verse that's the scripture that says something along the lines of I'd rather be was it on the rooftop instead of it in the house with a nagging woman or something like that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm
I've
talking about?
heard it. I've heard it, but I would be remiss if I try to tell you exactly where to find it. But I can look it up. That's the great thing about Google nowadays. But I do. I have to look it up because I have to
Hey,
reference what I'm saying. But I know what the sister's talking about.
Yeah, so basically, it's the scripture in the Bible and I'm paraphrasing that saying that they would rather be by themselves, pretty much, instead of being with someone that's always nagging or always complaining. Again, when we had talked about earlier, that's being negative. You just,
But you
if
know
you,
something? Just to piggyback off what you were saying, and excuse me, my apologies.
oh yeah, fine.
You was mentioning being by yourself. One of the things of life and being whole, people have that nature to have to be with people.
mm,
It's very hard for some people to be by themselves.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
They can't
wow.
stand it. You have very few that are introverts that want to be by themselves. Most people are extroverts, and they got to have the company of people. It's just like a pack. It's
Mm,
just like the animalistic nature of you got to be around some people. Just like having food, just like having recognition, just like somebody has to tell you you matter.
Mm-hmm.
Some people,
Yeah.
some people can do without it,
Mm-hmm.
but for so long, you can
right.
only do that for so long. We're built to have certain things in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Why? Why? Sometimes you're
Wow.
never gonna have the answer why to your questions.
Looking out.
Why you exist? Why you do the way you do things? I ask that question all the time. What's
Hey,
the end result of my life? Where am I? Where am I going?
Mhm.
wow.
All I could do is wake up and try to do the best I can with what I have to work with. And I said,
Right.
Lord, help me with that. Because
Mhm.
if I try to put my hands on it, you know, you know what's gonna happen, brother. For the most part, I'm gonna keep my cool, but I'm subject to trip up
It could go either way, huh? Is that what you're saying?
easily, or allow somebody to trip me up because the adversary is out there lurking every minute of the day. Go out there,
Mhm.
Hey,
and the adversary may be you.
yeah.
You your
Yeah,
own worst enemy most of the time.
we are. We are. I'm enjoying this conversation, not the thing that domestic violence exists, but I'm enjoying that we're talking about it because I was talking to LaToya and I was also talking to Tiffany off air, and I was talking to Rock earlier. And I'm glad LaToya, she mentioned last week, we talked off air several days ago, and she said she wanted to talk about domestic violence. And I said, okay, we'll talk about that. And then more I thought about it during the week, and LaToya, Tiffany was here and Clayton was here. And I said, I wanted to talk about it at some time in the future.
Mhm.
And I decided that today is the future. I mean,
Mhm.
today, right now, it needs to be talked about because if Latoya brought this up, that means that it is important, and she thought it was important for it to be talked about. And Tiffany looked that up for you, Clayton. She says Proverbs 21:19.
Thank you.
21:19. And we'll go
Proverbs
over that. And I'm
21:19.
going to ask Tiffany to read what Proverbs 21:19 says. You have it at your disposal, Tiffany?
I do. It says it's better to live alone in the corner of an attic than with a crossing wife in a lovely home. Um,
Wow.
uh, yeah, another version says better to live in a desert than with a crossing and nagging wife.
And you know that could be grueling because the fact is you're in the same household
Ooh.
Mhm.
and you
And no
cannot
peace.
speak to one another.
Oh, my
You
God.
cannot even
No
communicate.
peace.
That yeah, no, that's no peace at all.
No
You
peace.
walking around one another. That's painful. I've been married going on 36 years.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
And
Congratulations,
there
brother.
has been those times. But the thing is, I am so happy I can laugh with my wife.
Hmm.
I can chuckle it up. We can talk about stuff, and next thing you know, we laughing until we got tears in our eyes.
Hmm?
Now you talking about coming a long way, and I thank God for that. And I hope that for everybody that's in the sound of my voice, because like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, if you're okay, I'm okay.
That's it.
That means that I care about my neighbor, which is you. I care about your well-being because the fact is, I don't have to worry about you coming after me. I don't have to worry about you being disgruntled. I don't have to worry about you being angry. And that's the problem with most of those people that are going out there hurting people. They angry about something.
That's right.
Something didn't go right.
Hmm.
And that's why they say always pray for your neighbor, pray for your enemies, pray for those you don't know. Because those are the ones that are out there hurting people.
That's it.
Hurt people, you just said it.
Right. Right. I tell you what, I'm so proud of my brother Clayton because I had before I decided to move our whole operation back here to Richmond. We're out in Southern California. We started this broadcast in 2014. Hallelujah. Thank God. And we started this broadcast, and now we're on the East Coast, and we're connecting dots around the world.
Kudos, brother.
And the idea, thank you, brother. And so the whole idea for Groove Swing Speaks. We want to connect grooves and swings and also our listening audience to these fine organizations. Groove was started in 1962 and swings in 1969. And grooves and swings are on the moves, ladies and gentlemen. Like
Yes.
Clayton mentioned earlier, and Tiffany mentioned, and on previous broadcasts, LaToya, we were talking about the various things that these organizations are doing. You heard Clayton just lay out a host or a myriad, if you
Yes.
will, of things that this organization, his organization, is doing, which he's the president of his particular chapter. We have chapters and
Mhm.
pockets around the nation.
Yes.
The idea of Groove Swing Speaks is to bring us together and let the world know what these organizations are doing. And we want you to catch the groove, get on the swing, and let's do this thing. All right, let's do this right now because I know that there are power, or there is power in numbers.
Yes.
There's a
Mhm.
power there, and we're going to do this even outside the country. You mentioned our VP at National and his connection with Ghana.
Yes.
We're going to talk
Princeton
about
Booker.
this and let's boost this thing. I've been impressed with this broadcast because not only do we talk about the good, we talk about the bad and the ugly.
Right.
Because if you want to have a functioning system, a functioning machine, a functioning body, you got to clean out the bad, or at least address it and let the world know. Look, we are doing something about this. Let us know, more importantly, that we are doing something about this. And this is our pledge to you, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Tiffany, we've got a few minutes left to go in the broadcast. I want the world to know who, I know you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, but again, I'm so proud of you, my sister. Tell us about Tiffany Howard and things, and what are you doing today with your own outside of swing, and maybe
Mhm.
even included. What are you doing, my sister?
Okay, so again, Tiffany Hilliard here,
Speak up,
and
dog. Speak up
can you hear me?
Yes.
Would you?
a little bit.
Okay. So I am a writer, a screenwriter, and currently working on a few projects. I'm also, I didn't mention this last time, William, but I'm also the general manager and co founder of a production company that is currently forming. And we are currently working on a docu series. And I will tell you more about that as that's coming along. So I'm also in the process. It's been on hold, but I started someone's autobiography last year. That's a great story. They're based out of West Palm Beach, Florida. That is one of my most recent works, and my personal work that I'm in the process or beginning to be in the process of revising is a holiday film script that I written a couple of years ago. So I've been kind of doing some research and looking into that. But yeah, as far as swing goes, I'm just kind of now getting back into the flow of things with swing. And I know that our anniversary is coming up, April 4th.
Well,
And
congratulations.
yes, thank you. And I would love to go to Miami. I don't have any intentions, but I would love to go to Miami. Are you guys going to Miami this year?
I still haven't
Eh,
nailed it down yet.
Right. And I would love to
I
go.
would love
And
to.
uh, if I can get someone to take over the station for a while. When I was in California, I had trained people and engineers that would come in and take over whenever I left or went on vacation. Having been back here for a short period of time in Virginia, we haven't had anyone to come up to par as far as taking over because we have several broadcasts. We're not a podcast. We're on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With several, we have music, talk, sports, comedy, entertainment, and just a whole lot of stuff that's going on. And I have an obligation and a commitment to make sure that I get the program out properly. So uh, if I can get someone to take over for several days while I'm gone, or maybe a couple of people take over, then I will definitely be there in Miami. I've been to Florida a couple of times, but I've never been to Miami, and I understand it is going to be off the chain when the
Yeah.
grooves and the swings show up.
Yes,
We
sir.
take the town
They
is
better
ours.
they better understand.
It-
Yeah.
they better they better understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
Not only are we a civic organization, but we're also a party organization.
Yes.
And I got to be honest, that's why joined Groove the first time when I was in college, right? Because it was party central. If you want to go to a party, you go to a Groove party, right? What I am proud of that the organizations, not only Groove and Swing, but we have evolved into more of a civic or civil service type
that is true.
organizations. Now
That's true.
we still party,
That's the reason why I had to lay out the things that we have been doing.
right?
Right.
Groove and Swing has been doing some great things.
Yeah.
Great
And
thing.
people need to know the things that we're doing. I have those conversations with many of the organizations, especially in my church, and they can't deny the fact that they recognize what we're doing.
Mm.
I don't care if you're Alpha, Kappa, Q, Sigma, Iota, Delta, Zeta, what have you,
It
Sigma,
doesn't
Gamma,
matter.
Rho.
Well, you gotta name them.
You better understand. I keep telling you, I keep telling you, they want me to do what? No.
No,
I am a black man
that's
that
right.
demands the respect of a black man.
That's it.
And when I look you in your eyes, you're looking at me the same way you look at yourself in the mirror. So understand who I am.
That's it.
Groove Five Groove Social Fellowship Incorporated. And I am a
Mhm.
brother of Swing Five Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated. And I want to give a shout out to some of the sisters that I have been working with. Geraldine Atkins,
Yes.
D. Best, Shadora Jones, Cheryl Mango, who is our campus advisor, Dr. Cheryl Mango. Yes, our sister is our campus advisor.
Okay.
Mackenzie Perry and Karen Winston. Those just a few.
Right.
Love them dearly. And to my chapter brothers, Virginia State University Virtual Alumni Chapter, and my dear brother from the Panther One, he's the president, my boy Craig Hunter,
You talking about the game
the
changer?
game changer. The game changer.
That's my boy. I love him.
Craig Hunter, yeah, that's my right hand man.
I love him.
And also Everett Phelps, who is the Richmond grad president. We work hand in hand on a lot of these projects. So I want to give a shout out to them, and especially my chapter brothers, Newt and Hafiz and Wayne Johnson, and also Steve. That's my cabinet.
All right. All right. Now, some of the sisters that you named, invite them to come on to the Groove Swing Network here because we'll be back on every Tuesday night. And I want to thank Tiffany. Tiffany, you are absolutely fabulous. Love you, my sister. I'm so grateful and so glad that I met you and that you've agreed to come back and be part of this movement that we are involved with. Because I tell you what, it's going to be, and it is powerful. When
Yeah.
grooves and swings around the nation get together, you
Yeah.
guys better look out.
Yeah.
Tiffany, thank you, my dear.
Thank
All right. Love you,
you.
sister Ola. All right.